time. You're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't have to say anything.
But I haven't made off.
We don't mention one question in the little line. Court, anything you do is maybe given evidence.
But I haven't made off though.
For your arrest as reported in factual investigation.
In this episode,
Welcome.
Auditor I Spy pulls into a BP petrol station for a routine fill-up and attempt to pay with a £20 Royal Mint coin, fully recognised as legal tender in the UK. But what should have been a straightforward transaction instantly spirals. The staff refuse a coin, escalate a civil disagreement, and call the police. When officers arrive, instead of calming the situation, they intensify it, ultimately arresting I Spy despite no crime being committed. That reckless choice doesn't end there, because I Spy challenges the arrest in court and walks away with a massive payout that speaks for itself.
It's a £20 coin.
Never seen them in my life.
So it's from the Royal Mint, so the same place that all legal tender comes from.
Have you got any other means of payment at the minute?
I don't know. Right. Can I ask why you didn't tell me before you started recording?
So when we go to any incident, our tour of duty and our police protocol is to video every incident we go to achieve the best evidence.
But you've got to notify the person, or the first available opportunity.
No, we don't.
You do?
Have you got that from somewhere? Have you read that up somewhere? Or?
Yes, your policy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the minute, we're obviously videoing everything because we've been called to an incident. Immediate response where there's some ongoing issue with payment, whether it's a domestic...
999?
Well, that's what's coming as, yeah.
Wow.
Well, we just didn't know what was happening. There was an altercation in the shop, so we've arrived on that instance. Are you going to give me your name?
I'm not, no.
Right, okay. Because is there a reason for that?
Because it's a civil matter, and it's not something that the police can get involved in.
To a degree, you're right. It is a civil matter. We can deal with it a different way, but obviously, ultimately, you haven't paid for your fuel.
From the moment she steps onto the scene, the officer makes it clear she's not equipped to handle the situation. The auditor immediately spots her active body cam and asks why she failed to announce it. The rules couldn't be clearer. Officers must inform the public they're recording at the earliest opportunity. Instead of acknowledging that, she denies the requirement altogether. And it only gets worse. She starts demanding the auditor's name, even though this is a civil dispute with a petrol station, not a criminal investigation. With no offense committed, she has zero legal grounds to request ID. Whether she didn't know the law or chose to ignore it, either possibility is unacceptable for someone wearing the badge.
But they're not accepting that money.
But that's up to them to accept it. If they decline...
They've obviously run the post office and they've declined that. Ultimately, it's a civil issue, but if you're not willing to give us your details, then how do we know that you're going to resolve the civil issue at a later date? If you're happy to give us your details, then we can look at the civil issue at a later date.
But that's a civil issue, that's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But we don't know your details, do we? So you could technically escape from here and never come back and never deal with that issue, then you'd be circulated as wanted for that, won't you, for making off without payment?
That's not a police issue at the minute.
It is. It is a police issue because you've not paid for fuel. So there's still an offence there of that you've not paid for your fuel.
But I have paid. I've gave them...
But you've gave them this coin, yeah, which ultimately they've spoke to the post office and they've decided that it's not a reasonable amount of payment for your fuel. So at the minute we're sort of hands are tied, yeah, agree with you on a certain instance of that, but we still need a solution today, whether we take your details and we deal with it at a later date.
From the officer's own words, she acknowledges this is a civil dispute, yet immediately tries to invent a power to demand ID so it can be resolved later. That's not how policing works. Without reasonable suspicion of a criminal offense, there is no authority to compel personal details. She cannot turn a simple payment disagreement into a police-enforced identity check just because a retailer is frustrated. And when she threatens that the auditor could be circulated as wanted, it's pure fiction. Wanted markers apply to criminal suspects, warrants, and failures to appear, not civil contract issues. Using the threat of a criminal designation to coerce compliance is an abuse of authority and exposes a fact she had no lawful basis to begin with. If she truly believed a crime was possible, she would need to examine the legal elements: dishonesty, making off, and intent to avoid payment. But hey, the auditor never left, attempted to pay, and simply disputed the method. Textbook civil matter, nothing more.
So basically, he's trying to pay with this. They've run the post office and said that it doesn't really exist, you can't pay with that. He obviously won't give us our details. I've explained to him to a degree it's a civil matter. However, if he does make off and he doesn't give us our details, we're struggling for any sort of civil issue at a later date. Any details and making off without payment, So I've explained if he does give us his details and we know where he is and we can contact him at a later date, hopefully this issue can get resolved. Now he's obviously not really can't want him to do that at the minute.
Because it's a civil issue and it's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But you're still going to make off, aren't you? technically without payment, but if we can get your details,
But I have paid.
but you haven't.
And it is their policy to accept the £20 coin.
Have you?
How's it
Has
their
he paid?
policy? No, he hasn't.
Right. If you haven't paid, and if you walk out this door now,
They've
then
still
you're
got,
li-
they've still got the money though.
Just let,
Well, what have you
just let
said
me
that is?
finish. If you
Yeah.
walk out that door now, you are liable for an arrest because we don't have your details.
But you don't need them
Well, I do
because it's a civil issue.
but it's not, because a make off without payment is then a police matter.
The second officer enters and immediately escalates, leaping straight to threats of arrest. It's completely absurd. The auditor is still inside, making no move to leave, and openly disputing the payment. There's no making off without payment, because he hasn't left and no intent to avoid paying. The situation is even clearer. He had already offered a £20 Royal Mint coin, which the cashier refused. That alone destroys any claim he was dodging payment. Under the Theft Act, both leaving and intent to avoid payment must exist. Neither is present here. By twisting a civil disagreement into a criminal matter simply because you didn't get his details, the officer reveals a staggering lack of legal understanding.
Walk out that
No,
door
it's
now.
not.
You know what it is. If you walk out that door now, you'll be getting arrested for make off without payment.
But there is an agreement with BP that
Is there
the
any other
coin can be
way? Is
used.
there any other way that you can pay? Because we're going to sit here for hours arguing. I've been quite respectful to you. I appreciate you have to a degree, and I appreciate that from yourself. You haven't been argumentative with me, and I appreciate that you've been a normal human being.
No,
However, we need
I don't
a
intend to.
solution.
No.
I know you
If
appreciate
you
that.
can pay for the fuel now by other means, then that's fair enough. It'll be the end of the matter.
Or if you can give us your details and we can deal with it at a slow time, we can offer you that. But if you're not willing to do either any, then we're struggling with what we have left to do.
Because we can't let you walk out that door without paying. But
We don't know where you live, you might not even be from around here, I'm not saying you are, but you know what I mean, we have people where they'll make off and then they won't give us our details and then we're going to struggle. I'm still going to have that £20 of fuel, unfortunately, with this BP garage outstanding.
which car is it?
But I have paid for the fuel.
But you haven't paid for the
haven't
fuel.
paid for
Which
fuel.
one?
Right, we're going round in circles, aren't we?
We are, unfortunately, yeah. We've agreed, we've reasoned with you now, we've tried to say that if you give us your details, just tell you where you live, we'll deal with it slow time. However, you then leave, you don't have your details, you don't know where you live, you could live in London for all we know, and then there's still this making off without payment because they will not accept this as payment.
But I don't have to identify for a civil issue.
It technically isn't a civil issue though, is it, when you leave and you don't pay? You haven't paid for your fuel. We've got the payment here, which isn't acceptable, so really you haven't paid at the minute.
The entire exchange is built on a false premise. The officers repeatedly warn that the auditor might leave without paying, a moment that never occurs. He is still inside, actively engaging, and had already offered a £20 Royal Mint coin. Their actions aren't responding to reality. They're reacting to an imagined scenario. That's not law. That's fiction. The claim that they couldn't verify his identity without forcing ID is equally weak. His car's number plate is right outside, a lawful and immediate way to confirm details if necessary. Instead, they ignore this, doubling down on demands they have no authority to make, turning a simple civil disagreement into ground for arrest. They weren't solving a problem. They were creating...
Well, I have, because I've handed the coin over.
Right.
So I haven't got that in my possession, and I've contacted BP head office before coming here.
Right, and was that today then, or?
No,
So when was that then? So you've contacted BP head office before you've come in?
correct.
Right, so did you contact them today, or was it yesterday, or last week, or?
It's not up to me to say that.
How's it money?
Do you understand what the £20 coin is?
No, that's why I'm confused.
Well, why are you threatening me for arrest then, if you don't know?
Because it's not money.
It is.
Right. We'll agree to disagree. At the end of
You
the-
don't know that. It is. It's
Right.
legal tender, the same as a £20 note and a £10 note.
Right, and who did you speak to from the BP garage, the manager?
It's a Royal Mint who issued that £20 coin.
Right.
So it's the same money as any other money.
If you get someone on the phone to me who you've spoken to earlier, then we could kind of end the matter here, can't we?
But if it's a civil
you're not
issue, I
willing-
don't need
but
to
at the minute
assist you.
But at the minute we don't know it's a civil matter.
But I don't need to assist you in a civil issue.
But you do, because it then turns into a police matter because we don't know that coin.
The auditor had
auditor had-
already done more than enough by pointing out that BP themselves confirmed the £20 Royal Mint coin was valid. That should have settled the matter instantly. Instead, the officer twisted into a demand, insisting he call BP directly, threatening that otherwise it becomes a police issue. That's absurd. He had no legal duty to comply, and refusing doesn't magically create a crime. The police role is to assess facts and apply the law, not shift the burden onto the citizen. Her follow-up, "We don't know that coin," only makes her case weaker. A £20 Royal Mint coin is legal tender. If she and her colleagues don't recognize it, that's their problem, not the auditors.
But if
You're
it's a civil
running the risk of
agreement,
being arrested because you haven't given us the details, and you're going to walk out that door, and it's technically a failure to pay.
but then it'll be a
make off
civil.
without payment.
But then I'll sue you.
Well, that's
So,
fine. If you want to sue us, that's fine.
unlawful
But
arrest.
like I said, we've been honest with you in terms of which way we can go. The staff here have been very honest, okay? And all I'm saying
Well, he
is, if you
hasn't.
get the person on the phone who you spoke to earlier with the agreement, then that could be the end of the matter. But
you
as
know-
far as I do, then technically, if you walk out the door, it's going to be make without payment.
He's already accepted to take it.
You haven't accepted to take it. No, haven't accepted to take it. You walk out that door, becomes a criminal matter, and you get arrested for make off without payment.
Oh, you give us
because
your details.
You're refusing to give us your details, and we don't know that vehicle is yours because you're not.
But I've told you
Is it urgent?
that he said he would take the coin
But he isn't out.
if I take my mask off.
Right, well I wasn't here for that, so we have no witnesses, unfortunately, other than you and him. Right now I can't view that.
Body camera.
But right now I can't view that. At the end of the day, you've come in, you've paid for
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got your fuel, you've come in. This isn't a payable matter. Once you leave, we've offered you to give us your details and deal with it that way. For all I know, that vehicle could register somebody else and lived in London. And how are we ever going to trace you?
But I don't
Once
need
you
to
leave
assist
this
you.
situation, it is making off without payment. I can't be any more reasonable with you and give you some sort of options that we can go
But I
with.
don't
You
need
still
to assist
refusing
you.
to. Are you offering to give
Because
the
you're
staff,
wrong.
not myself, not my colleague, the staff your name and contact number?
No.
Right, so we have one option, but two will lock you up then.
Well, I've got a civil agreement in the
No, no,
background.
no,
Fine, you
we're
can,
not-
you can
So-
prove that
You
at
can
court.
prove-
I've
You
got
can prove
that.
that at court
That's
then.
fine. You can prove that at court.
Right, well this moment in time, you're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't
I
have to
haven't-
say anything,
but I haven't made off.
defense. We don't mention one question to the letter line court. Anything you do is a negative evidence.
But I haven't made off
That's
though.
for your arrest as a prompted and factual investigation. Okay?
But I haven't made off.
That you're under caution as well.
And due to the fact you failed to provide data.
But I haven't made off.
Fails to provide details, yeah.
But I haven't made off.
Right, are we going to go calmly? We're going to go quietly?
We would go calmly all the time.
Okay, well, do you want to walk with us then?
Of course.
Thank you. Just come with me, sir, please. Have you got anything in your pockets that's going to harm me or you? Just take them out. It's just a question we ask everybody.
Can we just take your camera off as well, please?
This is where the situation crosses from incompetence into outright abuse. The officers arrest the auditor for making off without payment while he's still standing inside the store, clearly saying, "I haven't made off." That one line alone should have ended the confrontation. Under the law, the offense requires leaving the premises with intent to avoid payment, neither of which occurred. He hadn't left, wasn't attempting to leave, and had already offered a valid form of payment. Yet, they pressed ahead with the arrest, making it legally indefensible. The Theft Act requires two elements, the act of leaving and the intent to avoid payment. Neither was present. The offense simply didn't exist, and they knew it. Now, the Auditor spy gives an update on the outcome of his claim.
About 10 months ago, I walked out of those gates after being falsely arrested for using the £20 coin. The Chief Constable has paid out £4,000 in compensation, but unfortunately he did not apologise at any point, even taking him to court. He went all the way to court, we had the hearing date, and then the Chief Constable saw some sense and paid £4,000 in compensation, but no apology.
The case went to court, and the auditor walked away with a massive £3,999 payout plus legal costs. That's not pocket change. It's a clear statement about just how indefensible the police's actions were once subjected to legal scrutiny. They knew they had no defense, so they settled. Yet, according to the auditor, the Chief Constable never even offered an apology. Thousands of pounds of taxpayer money acknowledged the wrongdoing, but basic professionalism? Not a word. That silence speaks volumes. This case highlights how easily a minor situation can spiral into full-blown misconduct when officers don't know the law they are sworn to uphold. A simple civil dispute over a coin, something that should never have involved the police, turned into a wrongful arrest because ego and authority replaced common sense. Officers invented justifications as they went, repeatedly asking, "What if you walk out without paying?" Despite the auditor never leaving or showing any intent to avoid payment, they built an entire case around a scenario that existed only in their imagination. That's not law enforcement. That's intimidation in uniform. It also exposes a deeper cultural problem. Fear and threats as a shortcut to policing. Instead of patience and knowledge, officers reach for detainment and arrest, eroding public trust. If this can happen over a coin, it can happen over anything. And after it's all over, nearly £4,000 of taxpayer money is spent, yet not a single word of apology. That silence isn't just arrogance. It's a clear signal that protecting the force's image matters more than accountability. That's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue my independent coverage. Don't forget to check out I Spy Audits. His channel link is in the description. Show him some love. This was Rate the Audit, and I'll see you in the next one.